Mind you, this is New York.
I would never stand in there for any circumstance.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is New York. So imagine at nighttime, 3 in the morning, we're talking about maybe -5,
Yeah, it's freezing up there for sure.
-7. You include the wind chills, you're standing at like maybe
People are insane,
-11,
man. That's what I've
-12.
realized. People are insane in this world, especially in in America. You see the most insane things happen.
Oh yeah.
I need to know more. This is an insane display of human capability. Look at this. This guy's Planet Fitness hat falls off.
Oh my
How much does
god.
Planet Fitness pay each year to sponsor this? Look at this guy. There's no reward here. Your reward is you leave last.
And we are here, 2025, back to 365.
Yes, sir.
Reset. Man, we got quite a while. We got a long marathon to run, but
100%, 100%.
hey, we got to take it by stride, one day at a time. Make sure you come out gunning, especially at the beginning. You want to come out strong. I know there's a lot of resolutioners, ready to go at the beginning, but just like any marathon, at the beginning, you always see the most amount of people starting with you, but by the time you get to the end, a lot of people burn out, a lot of people are cramping, a lot of people are injured, a lot of people have lost the stamina, they can't endure the pain, they don't make it to the finish line. But every year, you always have a chance to restart, so why don't you restart right now?
No, that's true, man. You couldn't have said it any better. Like, we're now in 2025. It's pretty much the 5th today, January 5th. So just keeping it in mind, I mean, it's already the 5th, so time is going as we speak, right?
Yeah.
So I think just coming into this year, and every single year is always going to be the same, but I mean, come in with some energy. That's the biggest
100%.
thing. Come in with some energy. Make sure you have some type of purpose. Make sure you have some goals written down, things you want to accomplish. Because I think if you don't do those type of things, you lose the year. The year goes by quickly. Like you said, it is a marathon. A lot of people start off strong. They might have, a goal for this month or the next 2 months or whatever the case may be, but they're short-lived, right? Because after maybe a month or two, everyone gives up. Everyone throws in the towels. You get back to old habits. You get back to doing things the way you don't supposed to be doing, especially if you had, goals that you set for yourself. So if that's, health-wise, it could be eating habits, certain things you're eating, ingesting. Obviously, if you want to stop drinking or smoking, certain vices, obviously, that might kill your momentum, to be honest. A lot of the time, vices kill your momentum. So a lot of people have to stop those things in order to even progress. So I think just coming into the beginning of the year, it is another fresh start. Although every day counts, it's a fresh start. So it is a reminder that, you got an entire year ahead of you to make things happen from today. So I think that's just like crazy coming into 2025. I think it gives a lot of people energy, but like I said, don't get caught up in the hype. Every day is the same. Every year is the same. It just depends on if you're taking advantage of the day or not.
So, yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I think a person shouldn't look at the year as a whole. I think every person that wants to accomplish something within the year should take it day by day.
100%.
Always looking to be consistent and making sure they're documenting what they do for that day, just so that they can look back in the week and see what they've accomplished. Because I think having onus on documenting what you do will definitely help you stay on track. And also you'll have a level of analytics to what you've been doing for that month. And it's always accountable. So each month that comes, you're always accountable. Just like we use the leaderboard for running, and then you could document and see how much times you ran in a month, how much kilometers you've hit. I think that's how your life should be conducted to a certain degree, where you either have a journal entry or you have some kind of Google Doc where you're constantly putting reminders or you're documenting what you did, or even if you're doing a video entry journal, because that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to now do little videos of just me talking about what I did for the day. And I think when it's all said and done, I can look back and see, okay, this is what I was doing this month, and just making a mental note of that, and then making the adjustments for the following month. So I think just being organized and when trying to achieve your goals is so super important. Another thing I wanted to talk about is, which I found pretty strange
Yeah.
at this point, was the fact that I didn't see much people in the gym. And
Oh, you never seen those New Year's resolutions?
yeah, the New Year's resolutioners were not in full effect.
No.
Not like all the other years that I've seen. So I don't know what.
Probably still on vacay, man.
Possibly. You know, maybe it's a slow start, but
Slow start to the year.
yeah, I think because where New Year's actually landed was on a weird day,
Yeah,
which
on
was
a
a
Wednesday,
Wednesday. So
yeah.
you're in the middle of a week. People might be looking to start on Monday. You know, there's something about starting on Monday. It's supposed to be fresh. I personally think it's an excuse, but again, you know, you guys do what you need to do, whatever it takes to get to that finish line.
Yeah.
But I was anticipating a lot of people to be at the gym from New Year's Eve. If not New Year's Eve, definitely New Year's Day if it's open.
Yeah.
And onwards. But for now, I would say that the gym has been quite quiet, which is the way I like it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long it's going to persist or continue in that sense, but I do enjoy the tranquility and harmony of the gym right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I seen at my gym it was busy. So,
yeah?
like,
Okay.
but I went at peak time. I went, like,
Okay.
around on a Saturday at, like, 1-ish.
Oh, really?
So that's pretty peak time that people would go to the gym at. So I seen a lot of people there, but then again, I don't really go at that time on Saturday, so I'm not too sure. But I think it was like pretty busy there. I think people did get into the gym, probably trying to start the year off gunning. And I encourage anyone to do whatever it takes, like you
Yes.
said. If that's what motivates you, it being the New Year's, if that's what you need to make it to the next level, then do you. Do what you have to do. But I always say, like, every day counts. Because at the end of the day, when January's done, we're in February. When February's done, we're in March. And every month has its own challenges.
Yes.
You have up and down, just like a roller coaster. You don't know, where you're going to land pretty much throughout the ride. So I think just within the year, you have to have a focus and you have to have a goal, like, most importantly. I think if you have something you're working towards, then what you're doing on your day-to-day would make more sense. And like you said, organizing, like what you said, documenting yourself. I think this is a tough thing that a lot of people have to deal with, is organizing themselves and documenting their progression.
Yeah.
And I think that's even with working out,
Yep.
with, staying on task with whatever goal it is, even with just cleaning, like just taking care of stuff, grooming. All these things require kind of documentation on when you need to continuously look after it, right? Like, so like you said, if you're seeing what you've done within a month and you can use it as reference notes or reference points, you can kind of understand what your routine was like, and then you can make adjustments according to what you want to change within it. Especially if you never got what you wanted out of that month. If you never reached whatever mini goals you had, then you can look back and say, look, I need to change this up. I want to start doing this now. So I think you just documenting yourself on your day-to-day is, like, important as well. And I think we don't take advantage of that, but we have a lot of technology these days, especially with camera phones. We can just sit our camera phone, takes 30 seconds for us to record what we did in our day, even a minute. And at the end of the day, it's done. And you got it as an archive. And you can continuously have those archives. So I think just being intentional about certain things you do in your day, and is it contributing to you reaching your final destination is the question. And you'll figure that out by how your day-to-day is going, how I see it. So
Yeah, no, 100%. And I wanted to actually review a video, especially for just before New Year's Day. So New Year's Eve,
yeah.
people tend to do different things. They
Yeah.
tend to go out. Some people go and watch fireworks in certain locations. Other people go out and party. Other people go out to lounges. And other people are just looking to see the ball drop. And I'm speaking specifically on New York. and we're gonna review this video because there's a lot going on, and we're trying to really understand the psychology of people that stand outside in days that are frigid. Because again, New Year's Day in different parts of the world, you could either be in a really warm climate or you could be in a really cold climate. But nonetheless, we got to figure out what is it that people get super excited for New Year's Day to keep them standing in one spot for multiple hours.
That's hilarious.
So we're going to try and figure that one out.
I mean, New Year's is like, to me, New Year's is one of those holidays that mean nothing but mean everything to like a lot of people, which is kind of funny because it is a new year.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like every day is the same when it comes to me. So I think I treat every day the same, and the importance of every single day, you keep them equal, and then you won't have to really worry about it being a new year to start beginning stuff. So that's usually how I look at it when it comes to like New Year's. It's never been a huge holiday for me to like make a big celebration out of, to be fair.
So why do you think that people tend to make New Year's Day, well, just before the ball drops, like New Year's Eve, why do they make the preparation as big as they make it? Like, what do you think is running through their minds at those specific times?
It's just like them being refreshed, right? It's like you're refreshing a computer. And now it's like we get to start from scratch. So clean slate for this year. We're on a clean slate, clean sheet. Because now, if I look back, I'm not remembering, each individual year of when I did this and when I did that. Like sometimes you don't know exactly when you did what and what year it was or what time it was. But you do know that in this year, this had happened. Like, this was happening in this year. So, obviously, we did a marathon last year. We're going to remember that was part of that year. That was a pivotal moment. So, all those little pivotal moments are attached to, like, a specific year. We don't know every detail of the year of what we did, but we have, like, specific moments. So, people are targeting those specific moments when it comes to that. I think people are saying to themselves, okay, it's 2025. Now I can make memories for 2025. If people ask me where did I travel, I can say this is where I traveled this year. If people ask me, what's going on, what am I up to, I'll tell them what I'm doing this year. Like, they're not going to talk about the past. They're going to talk about the fresh start. So I think that's where people have it. What you're doing now is what's most relevant, not what you did yesterday. So I think a lot of people just look at it that way. When they're on a fresh year, it's a fresh start. And now people judge me off what I'm doing right now currently.
And it's interesting that you mentioned it, what you just mentioned,
of them,
because I wanted to talk about this.
One
of my homegirls, what they did was actually for every month, they had like a pivotal moment that they kind of kept archived, so that when the year rounded, she was able to understand exactly what happened in each month. So she put each month together. And it showed something that was pivotal to her.
That's
so in 12 months,
pretty crazy.
Which is crazy and
smart idea though. Like, very smart
at the same time, because I can't recall every month and what I was doing on every single month and what was pivotal for those months, because I think every single month has its own special moments that sometimes we take for granted or we just don't realize it was a special moment at that given time. But it would be interesting to find that one thing that you did in the month that made your month, made it memorable. You know what I mean? And I think we all have that in 12 months. We all have at least one thing, because usually a month takes about 30 days before it ends. In that 30 days, something pivotal happened that you may have taken for granted, but maybe you want to document that. So when you do a collage, when it's all said and done to round the year, you can now look back and say, oh, yeah, I remember this moment. I remember this moment.
Even for us, like, I mean, just thinking about our year and, like, a lot of pivotal moments we've had, it's like, it's crazy. If you really think month by month, yes, you won't remember, but you can remember what you did vaguely in the year. You don't know which month you did it. But just thinking of all the kind of feats per month kind of a lot of different things we did within each month. Like, you really think about it, there's a lot of stuff you do in one simple month.
100%.
You can like do something entirely like that, something you've never planned for, you can do it in this month. Something you never even necessarily prepared for, and month from month you could do it, just depending on how much focus you have and how, if you have the ability to adapt, right? Like, so if you put yourself in certain situations, if you sign up for this or you go do that somewhere, at the end of the day, all these things that happen, it's, what's the word I'm trying to find? Losing myself in thought here. No, what I'm trying to say is basically when it comes to month by month, when you have something archived, you start to realize how much things you actually done if you're a person that's productive. If you're a person that's not productive, you'll realize how much you've never done. And especially if you don't document it, right? That's why I said it's important what you're talking about with documenting yourself, because at the end of the day, it might not just be the journal entries, but just what you've been up to. If you're doing certain stuff, if you're going to certain places, making sure you take a picture there, making sure you get some memories at certain places that you've never seen before or things you've never done before, and or just exciting stuff, whatever the case may be. I think that's just important because we do forget about the years quick these days.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in social media era, so what we did yesterday, that's like eons away. Like, we don't even remember what we did yesterday because so much other information is clouding our thoughts. So just keeping that in mind, documenting yourself, recording yourself, taking pictures with people, all that type of stuff's important, especially moving forward in this digital age. That's what I would say.
All right. So we're going to try and get this video started and do a little review.
Yes, sir. But yeah, like we were talking about, one thing I wanted to just mention was big plans for this year. We'll get into that, talk about what we have planned for this year. If you have any, goals that you wanted to mention, we can definitely talk about that.
I just watched this video of them opening the gates for people in Times Square for New Year's Eve, and let me just tell you, I want all of these people's brains donated to science. While they're still alive, I want them on lists, but I need to know what motivates a human being to put themselves through this torture and do it with a smile on their face. I need to know more. This is an insane display of human capability. Look at this. This guy's Planet Fitness hat falls off.
Oh my
How much does
God.
Planet Fitness pay each year to sponsor this? Look at this guy. There's no reward here. Your reward is you leave last. This video shot by Jonathan Bennett. It's just so like what? Look at these people running. Where are you running to? Nowhere. We as humans have developed so many other things for you to do outside of this. And I don't want to sound like a party pooper because I get why people party on New Year's Eve, but
Jeez.
what? Truly, I want them all studied. Deep psychological stuff.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to lie. I've seen this video a couple times, man. It
That's
makes me
just
laugh
hilarious.
every single time, honestly. Because, as you can see the black guy running up in the front. Planet Fitness hat flying right off his head. First of all, I don't even know why they're... See, this is the thing about when people get free stuff. They don't understand that they're walking advertisers, or they're just a billboard. They're a walking billboard for people that want to advertise their goods
Absolutely.
and services,
Yeah.
right? So they get these free products. It's smack pack on their head.
Yeah.
He's wearing a dunce cap over his head. Flies off, looks back, tries to get it, realizes, you know what, there's a stampede. I'm just going to keep running forward. I need to make it to the front of the gates, but they're running to nowhere. And the funniest thing is those same people, because there's an interview talking about how they've been standing outside since 3 a.m. Now, this is why that's why the gentleman was talking about these people need to be studied. Like psychologically, there's something going on up top in their mind, and they need to figure out what it is that got them that had them standing outside 3 in the morning. Mind you, this is New York.
I would never stand in there for any circumstance.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is New York. So imagine at nighttime, 3 in the morning, we're talking about maybe -5,
Yeah, it's freezing out there for sure.
-7. You include the wind chills, you're standing at like maybe
People are insane,
-11,
man. That's what I've
-12.
realized. People are insane in this world, especially in in America. You see the most insane things happen.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I've done something similar. The only thing I've done similar to that, and I wouldn't wait, obviously, from 3 in the morning to whatever time, but was the Raptors parade when they won the championship.
Oh, okay.
And we
Okay.
squeezed our way to the front.
Okay.
So, like, technically, I wasn't there for that much hours, right?
Yeah.
Like 3 hours, 4 hours
Yeah.
maximum, and it was daytime. But these idiots, like that line up at 3 a.m.
Can you imagine?
And then they have to wait for the entire day and night to see a ball drop. That's insane.
They're defecating on themselves.
Oh, my
They're
God.
urinating on themselves. They're wearing an adult diaper.
That's
Possibly more than
insane.
one, because obviously you don't want to be in your own urine and
God, that's
in your own
disgusting.
feces for the whole day. So they probably have their wet wipes and whatnot, to clean themselves off, right? Now, where they actually do the cleaning, I don't know, because you're packed like a sardine. So
Bro,
there's
those
no
guys
room.
don't even care about that.
There's
type
no
of
room
stuff.
for that. But it's like, it's literally a fasting day for them, because
Yeah,
for
they ain't
you
eating.
to
Well,
do
they
the
brought
bare
their
minimum,
their bags and shit like that. They
yeah,
brought
they
their shit.
did. And see, I'm trying to understand. You're standing for multiple hours too. Like,
what I'm trying to understand the importance of certain things and why like people
Do stuff of that
prioritize
sort,
like
yeah.
holidays and these any of these days. It's
Yeah.
like any holiday, right? Like we prioritize them to such a degree that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Like you going to watch a ball drop for New Year's, or even going like for those that like to party and celebrate.
Yeah.
When you've been to one, you've been to them all. Like at the end of the day, it's gonna hit 12 o'clock. People are gonna say Happy New Year. It's gonna last for all but 5 seconds, and then
You go on your merry way.
Everyone's gonna party. They're gonna play a couple classic songs. People are gonna drink, cheers to each other, say Happy New Year's to every single person that's a stranger to them, and then they go on their way home.
Yeah.
And then it's done. And then it's like, yeah, New Year's is finished and nothing to it. But what I realize is when there's reason to celebrate, like for humans, I guess, if there's any reason to celebrate,
gonna
people are
celebrate.
gonna celebrate. And you're gonna have idiots like these people lining up 3 a.m. or whatever time these clowns
so they said
decide
3
to line up.
a.m. Done
Yeah, and they're
scouts on
gonna
that.
wait around, and then when they open the gates, they're gonna sprint to the front like they won a prize.
Yeah.
and it's like
But there's no reward.
you run. Yeah, what'd you win?
Because honestly, you're the biggest loser. Because
You are.
again,
You're
when the-
walking billboard.
You're walking
You're for
billboard.
these advertisement
Yep.
agencies to make money off marketing. This, that.
Yep.
Obviously, everyone knows this. Then, but like not every human
duty.
is.
I don't know. And then,
Well, I think humans rather like again entertainment and joy. People are more interested in that than logic. So like if
Mm.
we're going by pure entertainment, joy, that type of thing, people prefer that. A lot of people
But
prefer
what's
that.
the joy in that? I'm trying to understand what's the joy.
Well,
in that.
ignorance
You're
is
standing
bliss, I guess.
outside,
That's the thing.
You're freezing. You're defecating on yourself. Urinating on yourself. Adult diaper. I'm trying to understand where's the joy in all of this.
Their joy is being
Because it's
there and
very
saying, I was at
discomfort.
Times Square at the ball drop. I was the first guy there. Like
you know what it is? Yeah, they're gonna be those
They're gonna
guys.
be
They're gonna be
those
the
guys.
uncle or
Yeah.
the grandfather
Explaining
or
the
that's
story.
explaining the story that I was in New York, the ball dropped, I was outside, it was freezing. You guys don't know what this is
Well,
about.
people don't have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. I
Boredom.
feel like a lot of
Boredom,
people
yeah.
don't have nothing better to do. And in this day and age with social media and all this other crap, people just find these different things to do to get an edge, to get some popularity, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of goofiness, but
Pretty
I just
goofy.
wonder that for most of these holidays, because we seen the same crazy shit like remember for like Black Friday? Remember
Yeah.
back in the day
Oh
how
my
Black
God.
Friday used
Black
to be?
Friday, Boxing Day
That made more
sales.
sense that it was sales,
Yeah.
but still, like, they're still ripping you off. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're getting you to spend your money and ripping you off. But I remember those, like, videos
Yeah.
of people crashing out, like,
Yeah.
throwing
Yeah.
carts into each other, stealing the TV from the little kid, kicking the kid in his head,
Fighting each other.
fighting each other is getting crazy.
People,
so
yeah,
I
people are
just
getting robbed when they
people
got
getting
outside.
robbed, and this happens obviously for a lot of different holidays.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of craziness goes on. I just wonder, like, the people that do the crazy shit, like, what's in their head?
Well,
Like,
I'll tell you one thing. What it is, from what I'm seeing is the level of marketing genius from the people that
the
market these
advertisers,
products and for
absolutely.
the advertisers.
Because they're the ones that get them.
Yeah, so they organize that in
Mm-hmm.
a sense where you've managed to coerce a huge population to believe the significance of that day, where you're gonna go out, spend multiple hours to get, like, in hindsight, like when you think about it in as a whole, the amount of time you wasted, which is a commodity you can never get back, and for whatever sales that you got, was it really worth it? Because most of the time you don't get exactly what you wanted,
For sure.
because you waited for so long. But you
Yeah.
tried to, like, it was always about you hoping to get what you wanted. Hope strategy.
The hope strategy definitely
know?
hits you, and you
And-
hope you can get a certain
Yes.
style for this
Yes.
percentage off that's in your size
Exactly,
and everything like
and
that.
that too, right?
There's
They
so much factors.
there's so many
Your color,
factors,
your
yeah.
size, you know.
Yeah. So a lot of that situation occurs, but again, it just shows like the level of consumerism in society in general, and where like our values lie as a society, especially when people are getting caught up in the most ridiculous of things. And it's not even down to New Year's.
Yeah.
Like, people are doing this for shoe sales. They're doing it
Yeah,
for specific
but-
releases. and-
okay, but speaking on like advertisement,
Yeah.
like, so when it comes to like marketing and these type of things, does it matter then if the product is shit or if the product is good?
I think it comes down to how well you market it, because there was a thing that came out before where there was a product that they basically did a study where they made a fake product. They called it like an Italian name. They just made it up.
Yeah, I
right?
remember this.
It was a Payless shoe actually, but testament to marketing, they managed to brand it as if it was a luxurious, like a luxury good, and then they set it up, which made it look very prestigious, just to find out when it was all said and done. Like, first of all, they built the hype, people were buying into it and stuff, and then when it was all said and done, they come to realize the shoe was actually from Payless. So it wasn't necessarily the shoe itself, it's how it's being marketed, it's what the name is to and what it's associated with, which determines on how the general populace is going to behave.
No, because the reason I asked that question is just because with any product or any type of advertisement, marketing, like we said,
Yeah.
even speaking on holidays
Yeah.
and why people act crazy and why they do certain things, it all comes down to marketing, as you said. You know, somebody's putting out this ball drop in New York, and we have whatever news coverage people that are going to be here and all these. So, like, that's the thing when we were talking about it, it's like you're going to be seen on TV.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you're going to be on a recording somewhere to say you were at the ball drop or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of, like you said, advertisers that are there. And when I talk about a product, whether it being good or not being good and whether marketing can overcome that, is because this applies to, you know, content creating as well, right? And honestly, this can go back to dating if you look at it too, because how you market yourself, right? So you can market yourself in a great way, but does that mean the product is actually good itself? It definitely doesn't mean that, because again, say you're talking about dating, if a woman markets herself to be wholesome, right? Like a chick that maybe doesn't go out that much, and we're all guilty of this. We're gonna judge a person off their like Instagram profile, like most of the times.
You always judge a book by its cover.
If we don't have nothing else to go off of, if we're not part of that person's community, we're gonna judge it off what we see, what's presented to us. So, like I said, if someone presents themselves as wholesome, I'm gonna take them for that image. You know, unknowingly, she could have a whole double life, right? But I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna take the benefit of the doubt. This is what she portrays to the world. This is what I should expect. But then that doesn't mean that's the product I'm getting. That doesn't mean that's what I'm gonna get at the end of the day. So I think like you said, marketing in any aspect, you have to kind of pay attention to, because just because something's shown to you, and this day and age, everything's marketed. So, but just because it's shown to you, presented to you in this nice gift wrap with bows and strings and all these type of things, doesn't mean that's the reality of it. Because, like you said, a lot of these marketers, I mean, the level of marketing that they can have people psychologically do things that don't make any sense is insane. But the same thing happens for men to women, women to men, you know, portrayals and, you know, fairy tales and fantasies of how this person's supposed to be and how tall they need to be or how pretty she needs to look. All these things are fantasies that we have, right? And they're marketed to us. So then we think that, oh, this is true. So if we see someone's Instagram and it looks a certain way, like, oh, she's this, then you see her on a different setting, all of a sudden changes completely. So that's my thoughts on like the craziness of marketing in general.
Well, that's the reason why a digital footprint is so important, especially in the dating world, because once you have that digital footprint, it's basically your identification and stamp to who you are as a person. So we've actually gotten to a stage of life where in society where people find you weird if you're not on any of these social platforms.
Yeah, of course.
Because before that wasn't a thing. Like if you weren't on it, you just weren't
Yeah,
on
you
it.
weren't
It's
on-
just
no
like
one
you're just
cared.
not interested. No one cares. But now when you say, "Oh, are you on social media?" and they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't use social media because I don't want to be caught up in the hoopla and also
Keeping
it's
up with
very
the Joneses.
yeah, keeping up with the Joneses, and it's very time consuming. People are looking at you like, whoa, hold on, what's wrong with this person?
Yeah,
Like,
like he's hiding
as if
something.
they're hiding something
Most
or they have
likely,
some kind
like
of
they're
problem.
mysterious, hiding something.
Right? And it's like it's more, it's almost like you're you're strange because you don't have
Yeah, you don't fit in.
you
for sure.
don't fit in, and it's like what I'm seeing about social media. It's more like a community,
It is 100%.
and you're not in the community.
Yes.
So now you're very foreign. You know what I mean? I don't really want to dabble with you because I don't know what to expect from you because there's no kind of paper trail to show me that you're safe.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think there's a level of safety when people see somebody, when they're able to see them and able to track them to a certain degree. Not even like, it could be a false paper trail, but it's still something that can lead them to who this person is.
So what's
It's some
more
kind of
dangerous
information.
then? Do you think it's more dangerous to not have social media or to have social media then? Because, and what you're saying is,
Yes.
yes, you can have a social media presence or digital footprints, right? And that could be a fake portrayal of yourself, right?
It could, for sure.
You not having social media, I mean, you're away from those things. So even if if say you're hiding certain things, well, at the end of the day, it's like you'd have to get to know that person then more deeply, and you'd have to ask the question because they're not on social media. So the onus would be on you to ask more questions about that person. Like say you got their phone number, for example, compared to someone that has social media. When someone has social media, you're not asking them that much questions. You're just trying to look, oh, they did this, they did that, they travel, they go here, they go there, boom, do this. And some people put their profession as well. So those things are already told to you. You're not gonna be asking them, hey, what do you do for a living? It's like I already said what I did for a living. Oh, what else do you do for fun? Well, you can see I'm traveling. You can see I'm with friends. You can see I'm part of a run club. You can see I'm doing this. So there's no more questions to ask. Like,
But there is always questions to ask.
of course, but what I'm trying to say is if you shape yourself a certain way, you already have a perception of them, right? So there's always questions to ask, but you already have a perception. It's gonna lead to less questions compared to somebody that you meet and say they're not on social media. It'd be more for you to try and figure out who they are now. So you'd ask a lot of questions because you'd be like, oh, why aren't you on it? Why? So what's more dangerous, the person that's not on the social media or the person that may be faking on social media? Like if you were trying to meet somebody, you're trying to get to know somebody.
No, I know what you're
What
trying to say.
scenario would you prefer?
I know what you're trying to say, but I guess in that sense, it depends if that same person that's not on social media, are they in your communities outside of social media? Do you see them on a day-to-day basis, or do you not see them at all? You just met them randomly at some random, like maybe you were walking and you picked up this person, like
No, say it's from a community you know.
okay,
But
yeah,
they just don't have social media.
okay, but
So
it's still
they're not
safe.
around that often, but you see them here and there. Same thing for somebody
It's
that's
still
on
gonna
social
raise
media.
some red flags because again, you don't see them too often in the community, and you don't see them on social media. So
But when I say what's more dangerous, like who is more trustworthy to you in a scenario like that? Do you not trust somebody because they don't have social media less than somebody that has a social media account?
that's a
You
good
meet two
question.
strangers.
That's a
One
good
person has
question.
Instagram, other person doesn't have Instagram. But you're trying to connect with both of them.
That is a good question because I would say that people that don't have social media and I can't find them on any platforms, I don't usually continue conversation with them. And I don't know if that's a unconscious thought process of you if you're hiding something or not, or I just feel that you're not tapped in. I think I think what I'm usually thinking about when a person tells me that they're not on social media or something of that sort, I would say that you're not in tune with the world. So as the world's continuously progressing, you're degressing or regressing because the thing is social media is here to stay and we're constantly evolving. It's just like Facebook had its time,
Yeah.
and then that slowed down. Then Instagram, then that is slowing down. TikTok, and it's just constantly evolving, and you're still back to ground zero. So as people continuously progress and new information is being put out to the world, and people are staying up to date, you're not up to date with the reality of what's going on. And when you're not up to date with the reality and what's going on around you, I think it's less likely for you to connect on a certain level. That's just my thought process on the situation.
Okay. No, I understand that. So you kind of view them as like less informed,
Yes.
like less impactful.
Yes.
They won't be able to make an impact if they're not
Yes.
really on social media according to your lifestyle
Yes.
or whatever you're looking for. But it's interesting because I'd say the same thing. Like for me to connect with somebody, if it's not through social media, it'd be hard pressed. Like I'll be honest,
Yes.
because I don't have enough time. Not even I don't have enough time, but I think we've gotten out of that era that you're calling people and you're messaging people, like text messaging people like that. I think we've kind of gone removed. That's kind of gone those days. Nowadays it's all social media.
Damn near obsolete.
Yeah, group chats, whatever, WhatsApps, whatever it is. Even WhatsApp is still more
Part
than
of-
text, right?
yeah.
It's part of that little social media stuff.
Yeah.
But again, even when I think of, even like I said, if it's a friend or whoever it is, the chances of me calling you off a phone number simply, or maybe a message, yes, it won't be as difficult. But some people, they prefer calls. It'd be very tough to keep a relationship like that going because out of sight, out of mind.
That's exactly
When you don't
what
see
it
them
is.
on your social media, you won't be necessarily reminded of all the faceless numbers you have unless you're putting a face to every single number you get. Which some people do. That's what I heard. They take a picture of you and then
Yeah, I've
put
heard
it. They'll
some
be like,
people
"Yo, let
doing
me
that.
sketch a picture of you," and then they'll put it as you. But yeah. Just to say that to keep that in mind. It's like realistically, if we get someone's number, we message them that one time. If we don't strike while the iron's hot, most likely that relationship will probably fall beneath the wayside.
Definitely
Like,
fizzle out. For
it'll
sure.
fizzle out. So it's just interesting how times have changed so much that you literally rely on social media to keep relationships and create them. Honestly,
That is super true. And I would say that's a super true statement just because a lot of the guys that I've known from high school
Yeah.
and even beyond, only reason that we're even in contact is because of social media.
yeah,
There
absolutely.
is no other way that we would have been in contact because I would say most of those guys, I don't have their numbers.
Of course, the numbers
Right?
change all the time.
Exactly. Numbers change all the time, nor is that a form of communication in which we're communicating in.
And exactly,
You
it
know
seems
what I
more
mean?
personal now
Yeah.
for like to
Yeah,
have
it's
it.
a lot personal.
Someone's
Exactly.
phone number is usually like, you know, significant other,
Yeah.
like close friends,
Mhm.
but you're not having everyone number to message them like that. You'll message them on social media because again, when you do get personal with a number, then people might abuse your personal space.
Yes.
Where people are calling your number and you're like, yo, I'm at work. Or people are calling you at inconvenient times. You're like, you know what? I'd rather keep this to social media where it's like you can kind of see what I'm up to, but you can't intrude on my life. Like I can
Yeah.
choose to respond here or not. Where a phone situation is a little bit different. If to choose, picking and choosing on whether to respond, pick up a call, you know, return a call. There's more onus on you because it's personal.
Mhm.
But social media, anyone can message you. You can read it, reply 10 days later if you want.
Yes.
No one's going to hold that against you.
And also another thing that a lot of people are doing nowadays is that they're not even necessarily writing to you or texting you on social media. They're just sending you memes.
That
Like,
too, yeah.
I'll
Different
have
form of
full-out
communication.
conversations with people just through memes.
Yeah, that's
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Just through laughs, right? And then even just those little laughs will get a conversation started.
Started, yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, that was funny. Where did you get this from? Or
There you
know
go.
what I mean? I seen this. That was very inspirational. Like, so those things are conversation starters as well, right? And when you're not on social media and you say that, you know, that it's very time consuming, I think you do have to have a level of discipline
Yeah.
when it comes to social media. I think you should be checking your time management because it does indicate how long you spend or your daily average for being on a social media platform.
Yeah.
You should make sure you have a certain limit to how long you use those platforms. But I do think it's very significant. I do think it's very important to stay connected. And if you are forming new relationships, it is a great platform to use because I know guys that are in really good professions that even though they're in really good professions, still use those platforms in order to stay connected to people because it's a form of communication which is not going away. So when you neglect the new forms of communications, saying that, you know, it's because it's almost like a person saying that, yeah, they're still using pagers. Just imagine if a person's still using a pager because and then once they get the page, they go and use a payphone
Yeah, exactly.
to make the call back. Like it's kind of it's like, dude, we're past that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, different times.
The times have changed. You can't stick with the old.
But
You gotta move with the new.
so here's my thing when it comes to connection. Then, if we're
Yeah.
saying social media gives more opportunity for people to get connected,
Yeah.
because like you said, old friends, certain people, even colleagues, sometimes you can keep in contact with them through these platforms. There's so many colleagues I've worked with that, you know, I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, who's this again? Who's that again? You know, never kept up with them, so I'm not remembering where they worked or what was the scenario, et cetera, et cetera. If I seen them probably on through social media, and if they're posting, I probably have had some recollection of, you know, who they are and whatever the case may be. So it's definitely a good situation to keep connections. But I still have to ask the question is, if that's the best means of being connected with people, how come it seems that this generation is worse communicators than previous generations, especially when it comes to in person?
You're definitely right about that. Social media has definitely, in certain senses, bridged the gap, and then in other senses, it has opened up a bigger gap, right? Where people are more isolated, more separated than they've ever been before. I think that's why it's now transitioning to communities like wellness communities.
Yeah, I'm noticing that,
Yeah, so
100%.
wellness communities, run clubs,
Yeah.
people getting together for like ski clubs or some people have bowling clubs. They have like different clubs.
Dance
where
classes,
dance
different
classes,
stuff.
different stuff where they'll make a subgroup
Uh-huh.
together so they can now. So you have to, I think, close the gap by having a subgroup within a group, because when the group is too big and there's so many people that you follow,
Yeah.
you don't get a chance to get to know people individually. But the smaller your group is, the more intimate it is, and the more you have time to get to know people on a separate level. And then you can even go even further with that, and now meeting people individually if you
Okay.
really want to keep friendships. Because when you meet people individually, those same people will open up to you in ways that wouldn't open up to you in a group setting, because
Yeah.
the group might interrupt the flow of conversation because they're trying to talk to you as well. So you definitely want to constantly bridge the gap and try to get to know people. I know as an adult, it's very hard to get to know new faces, new
That's
friends.
what I'm trying to say.
Because
To make personal connections.
yeah, personal connections, because again, we're all busy. We all got,
Things
different
going on.
issues that we're dealing with. And it makes it very difficult to go out of your way and try to connect with people. But what I realize is the best way of connection is by doing an activity that is proactive, but at the same time, you're talking to the individual while you're still being proactive. So you're doing an activity, now something that you typically do, and now you incorporate them in that same activity. So you don't really feel like you're wasting your time, because they're still in there doing the same activity that you're doing.
Oh yeah, that's the best way to bridge the gap
Yeah.
for sure, 100%. Yeah, you try and incorporate them in something you
Yes.
got going on or something you're already interested in, and then see if they would be interested in doing that same thing, and that would make it more easier
Yes.
for you to feel like you said, like you're not necessarily going out of your way or wasting time. You're making it like a productive meetup.
A productive meetup. And I
'Cause-
think a lot of people don't do a productive
Yeah, so
meetup.
people will
Yeah.
meet up and maybe just take an hour or two out their day to just
Sit
kind
down
of
and
sit down
talk.
and talk. But then some other people would go to the gym together. They'll go, it can be anything. You can go check out the mall together. You can
run
do whatever,
together.
run together. You can do whatever you need to do as long as it meshes, right?
Yeah.
If it meshes together, and then it can make sense. But you got to find other ways to meet people. Like you said, as you become older, you get more closed off to being open to people,
Yeah.
new people in your circle.
Yeah.
And you just feel like you don't have that time to get through who they are and what they've been through, and is this the right fit for me? Are we gonna are we gonna really get that deep of a friendship just off of knowing each other for a short period of time? I think we usually close off that idea, because we always think with friends, it's usually a test of time, not usually just you meet somebody and then all of a sudden you open up to them. Usually it's a test of time. You've been around them for a couple of years. You know their tendencies. You know what they're into, what they're not into. Then you kind of formulate a friendship. So I think, like you said, just doing those simple stuff that are productive that you can do together with some people. I think you have to go out of your way to a certain degree if you want to make relationships. But the best bet is, like you said, doing something that you're already accustomed to doing and seeing if they have the same interests, and then you can go from there. I think that's like the easiest way probably to build connections outside of social media. Being in a group or a community, usually, and then also whoever you're trying to get to know, inviting them to do something that maybe you have mutual interest in, or that you can put them on to. Sometimes you're putting on people to a different lifestyle or different things, and they're interested in that. So you got to keep those type of things in mind for sure.
And also, I realize when you do connect with these people on an individual level, you start finding out information that you wouldn't have known prior.
100%,
to,
yeah.
And then that information could be useful to you. You know what I mean? Networking is always important, especially. But I think a lot of people just struggle with the maintenance of that type of level.
That's
of
what I
networking,
mean. Yeah, dealing with multiple people like on a day-to-day basis, and having to figure out who you want to be closer to, or who
Yes.
you want to, talk to on a more personal note. Because you can be in a group, but doesn't mean you want to get to know every single person.
Yeah.
You want to get to know specific people that you have the same interests with, or people that you have, you feel like you guys have a good, you're compatible.
Or commonalities.
Commonalities, compatibility. Sometimes for business opportunities. Sometimes, like you said, networking goes many different which ways, right? It just depends what you're looking for specifically. But yeah, that's what I'd say. And like
you also wanted to mention earlier. You were talking about certain things that a person should do for this.
Oh yeah,
year,
before we definitely conclude, I wanted to talk about the top 5 things we talked about to focus on within this year. And for me, number one was time. So time, I'll give my take on time. So when I talk about time and why it's something we need to focus on, because like I said earlier, every day is relevant. Every day you choose not to do something or you choose to do something makes a difference within the year, because those habits carry on, and usually good habits create good results. So if you're looking for good results, if you're looking to reach your goals, time is of the essence. I think you have to start today and continue tomorrow and continue the day after that. And again, write your goals down, make sure everything's in order. And then within that time, see what you can do to get closer to your goals. So what's your thoughts on time management, and why it's so important to focus on in 2025?
Well, I would say the importance of time in itself is the fact that time is one commodity you can never get back, right? And knowing that fact, I think a lot of people underestimate how much time they actually have.
For sure.
Because time is also not given. It can be taken away from you so quickly. And I'm talking about your health, even things that can happen along the way, things that are uncontrollable, right? So capitalizing on each day to the best of your ability. Obviously, there's going to be days that you're not going to completely capitalize off the day. But one thing I personally always do, I remember a person told me this a while back. They said to me that they always try to strive for getting 3 important things done in a day for them to consider 3 things that are important of the day so that they can say that they had a productive day.
Yeah.
Because 3 is not a hard task in a day that you have 24 hours. So you could get 3 done. And that's how he gauged his day to see if he was productive or not.
Okay.
And I always took that principle and I applied it to my life. So I always try and look for 3 things. And they could be very easy things, which can be like stretching, doing a small workout, doing a run, eating healthy. It can be even journaling, reading.
Yeah.
There's multiple things that you can do to make 3 good decisions in that day. Whether that's even not drinking soda, like juice and stuff of that sort, just drinking water, drinking like 4 liters of water.
Certain many accomplishments.
Yeah, there's little mini accomplishments that will help build your confidence in achieving whatever it is that you're trying to achieve for the year.
Yeah.
So, but basically what I'm trying to say, the importance of time and how it could be utilized. And also with the utilization of time, if you use it correctly, you never know how far you can go within a year.
Within a short period.
A short period of time, right? We can never determine what will happen when it comes to our work ethic and being consistent at our craft or being consistent at whatever we're doing. We can never determine where it's going to take us because, again, life fluctuates in terms of what's going to be happening month to month. But what you can control is your work ethic. You can control how you conduct yourself per day. So
you always can control how you delegate your time.
So all those things are important. So that's why time is so important.
So yeah, time was definitely one of the main ones on this list. I wanted to talk about the second one, which is health. health is very important after time, just because, of course, in the time you need to utilize it for things to happen. And then the health portion of it is obviously taking care of your body, taking care of what you ingest, of course, what you're eating, how you prep yourself, whether in the morning, nighttime, et cetera, et cetera. Health is a major thing, and health goes down to even grooming as well. Taking care of yourself, whatever that means. If you're doing physio, if you're doing massages, if you're working out, if you're running, if you're keeping yourself active, stretching, I think all these things are very important as we get older.
Yes.
Especially, I think when you're younger, you're not really thinking of these things because your health's relatively good. You don't face no issues. But
I think it's better to start early, honestly, getting those habits into place.
for sure, it's better to start early, but I think it falls upon deaf ears, especially
Yes.
when you're talking to the younger generation,
Yeah.
because you don't feel the same pain. So
You
I
don't.
can't sit here and be like, you know what, you need to stretch, you need to do this. I would say that's in your benefit to do it. It's beneficial
Good
towards
habit
you.
to learn, but yeah.
Yeah, and your habits start when you're younger before they start later, right?
Yes.
So it's better to get it when you're young, so you don't have to really deal with forming new habits. So I think just taking care of yourself, being intentional. Like we said, there's the New Year's resolutioners that always want to start the gym at the beginning of the year. Well, don't let me stop you. At the end of the day, if you're those type of people that need the New Year's to get your engine going, then that's what you got to do. So if you're just getting back into it, make sure you're keeping consistent with the days you're going, what you're ingesting, obviously meal prepping, taking care of your protein intakes, water, getting the right amount of sleep. All these different things will factor into your health and how you should be looking after it. So that's why I thought was very important coming into this year for health-wise. And how about you, health-wise? What would your
Health-wise, I
thoughts?
would say, yeah. I mean, I think you touched on a lot of good things when it comes to health. Yeah, working on your nutrition, just constantly, even if you can change one little thing of your nutrition, it goes a long way.
100%.
Right? And then just building up, building from there, Every day you try and take something, you try and change something, tweak something, little by little, and then by the time you know it, you got the right nutrition you need in order to not only feel good about yourself physically, but also mentally.
100%.
You're you'll be in a better mental state. Spiritually, it definitely helps as well. And I would say that another thing when it comes to health that people should pay attention to is, yeah, doing those mental checkups.
Yeah.
Seeing where you stand mentally, because I think a lot of the time when it comes to you operating in the world, you need a clear mind to a certain extent. So taking some time to meditate, to decompress, especially after work. I know work sometimes is a lot for some people, and they need a time to just decompress, get themselves back together, and figuring out how you can find that space where you can decompress and do something that's therapeutic to your health is very beneficial, because that will also determine your health moving forward and
Yeah.
Staying in the narrow path or staying in a straight path. But that's all I would say.
Yeah, that was gonna tie into the third one, which
Oh.
which would have been mental state. Health, I'll keep to more so physical health.
Yeah.
And then your mental state is a key
Component, yeah.
key component to like making sure all these things can work together. Because like you said, doing those mental health checks, talking to people, whether it has to, maybe it's a therapist, maybe it's friends, maybe it's family, expressing yourself to people so that you can kind of get certain things that are on your mind or frustrations you have, you can kind of vent them out, let that energy out, because keeping all that negative energy also could affect you and your mental state moving forward. And you can be making money, you could be looking good, like keeping in good shape, and managing your time well, and your mental state is still messed up, right?
Yes.
You can still be depressed that you're not where you want to be, even though you got things going, working well toward, even though you're on the path of things looking upwards, you still can have that, lack of confidence. And like I said, the depression, anxiety, not knowing what's going to happen from day to day, all these things affect a lot of us. So I think you also have to be cognizant of yourself and understand what people you need around you and in your corner, having support systems, like I said, good communities that are supportive as well of things that you got going on, just keeping people that are, interested in you, or people that, appreciate you, keeping them around you, and so they can help support you and keep your mental at as strong as possible. Because I think that's something that's underrated. I think a lot of times it's like grind, 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 go hard, go hard, go hard. But I think there's some times where you need to take some time to take a breather and really get refocused. Sometimes you're getting off track because, something's guiding you towards a direction you don't want it to guide you towards, but that's just how life goes. And then you need someone else to put you back on track. Sometimes, like I said, that's talking to a friend, family member, therapist, getting the help that you need just to make sure that everything's good with you before, you start doing stuff like, before it leads down the wrong path. Because I think when you get behind in that, then all the other stuff is irrelevant, like the time, the physical health, when your mental state's not right. So I think you want to make sure your mental state's on point. Make sure you're, like I said, any trauma you have to deal with, try and get those things dealt with, resolved, and then you can move on and you can have better focus when it comes to things you need to focus on in order to progress in this life. But then the fourth one I want to say is energy. So energy is one of the things that I wanted to focus on. I want you to talk about energy and why it's so important that people focus on their energy and who they lend their energy towards.
Yeah, so energy is very important because, again, our energy is finite. And I think sometimes, what was it? Kipchoge? I think that was...
Kipchoge.
Yeah, Kipchoge, which is a marathon runner, the best, probably one of the best ever. He said it himself. He said, you need to take vitamin N. And interviewer asked him, what does that mean? And he said, you need to be able to say no. You need to be able to say no. And when he's saying you need to be able to say no, what he's talking about is there's going to be certain situations that people are going to try and draw your energy and ask you to do certain things, and things that are not in your favor, and that may take out energy that you don't necessarily want to give. You're going to give just for giving's sake, because some people are people pleasers. So they'll give unnecessary energy for no reason. And the problem with that is you leave no energy for yourself and for things that you care about and things that you want to focus in. You lose your focus, you lose your energy, and you lose your purpose because they got you running around doing all these type of things that you don't want to do. So saying no and being able to stand on your square and stand your ground is very important, because, again, your energy will be wasted on things that you don't necessarily want to waste your energy in, and that is never beneficial to you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and it will set you back moving forward in this upcoming year.
Yeah, I think you just need to be cognizant again of your energy and who you're giving it towards. I think we don't realize that when you invite negative people or people that don't really serve you the way you need them to serve you, they take away that energy from you. So it's a lot of times you have people that, are doing things that you don't necessarily agree with, or living lifestyles you don't necessarily agree with. But when you're around them, that might alter the way you behave, alter the way you choose to do things or make decisions, right? So I think with that being said, you have to control who you give your energy to. That's the most important. And I think you just have to be cognizant of whoever you spend time with, whoever you're around constantly. Those are usually people that you're giving the most energy to. So you should know, am I spending the right amount of time with the right people? And then those that aren't really giving me that energy back, especially if it's not positive energy, you have to look to get rid of those type of people in your life, because I think a lot of people's negative energy can drain yours. Even though you're positive and you have things going for yourself, you can be in a great situation. Like they say, misery loves company. So if someone's not really in a great scenario and they're trying to draw you with their negative energy and kind of draw you down their path, I think you have to be very aware of that and know to avoid those type of people, because you have to make sure you protect your energy at all costs, because you need that moving forward, especially if you're an ambitious person, you're a person that has big, aspirations, dreams, goals, wants to live a specific lifestyle. I think you have to notice that if people aren't really on the same page as you, you got to remove them out of your scenario, and then kind of keep that path clear for people that are ready to give energy as well, not just receive yours, So you want to be around that positive energy so you can, I'd say you can move forward, because a lot of times people are dragging you backwards, and to move forward, you have to be around people that have that same type of energy. And usually that's like ambition, usually that's, positivity, all that type of stuff that comes with, moving forward in whatever goals you have, discipline, accountability, all those different stuff. But lastly, I'd say for the top 5 things to focus on for this year, I would say is yourself. Lastly is yourself, because at the end of the day, you live alone, you die alone. Yes, you can be married. Yes, you can have kids. Yes, you can have all these family members. But point of the matter is, you go to the grave alone, and you have to understand all the decisions you make are a reflection of your life and a reflection of who you are deep down inside. So you have to understand, at a certain point, when you start reflecting on your life, you're going to realize that all the decisions you made and all the decisions you didn't make is what made you who you are, and you are who you are. So you have to be very much aware of that. So every decision you make may affect your life moving forward. So I think you focusing on yourself and who you want to be, who you want to become, what kind of legacy you want to create, what kind of role model you want to be, whether you want to be one or not. I think that's the most important thing, is to focus on what's your path and what's your purpose on this earth.
Definitely self is very important. I think a lot of people need to do a lot of check-ins and see if they're still going down the path that they set, and making sure that they're hitting some of those milestones that they have set in their path. I think it's very important. I think a lot of people get lost in groupthink. Sometimes their goals are getting intertwined with other people's goals, and they're not figuring out what it is that they necessarily want in their life. And I think sometimes you got to step away from the group and or the tribe, get out of there, figure out what you want for yourself, and then come back. The tribe will always be there. They'll always be there to invite you back. And if they don't, then that's not your tribe. That's not a group of people that you want to be around, because the fact that you want to go and better yourself and then come back and they don't like that, that's not a group that you should be associated with, because they obviously don't want you to grow. They want you to stay within the mind frame of the group. So I would say just even keeping that level of independence of yourself, and to understand that, again, as you said, you're born alone, you die alone, and there's nothing more to that. So understanding that, we all have a path that we all have to walk, and being true to your path, understanding your intuition as well, your self-talk, and making sure that you're listening to yourself, because we all have that voice in our head that tells us and tries and guides us to what it is that we want to do in life. And sometimes you want to sit there and listen, because sometimes they're guiding you down the right path, and you sit long enough, it will tell you what kind of decisions you need to make. So everything that you ever want to do is within you. It's internal. And you just got to open up your mind, open up your ears, and listen. And you'll definitely find what you're looking for if you are looking.
Well, yeah, I mean, there you have it. It's perfect, like you said. But again, the top 5 was time, health,
Energy.
energy was one of them. Mental state,
Yeah.
your mental state, and then obviously yourself.
Yes.
These are just the 5 things you should focus on for 2025. I feel like we gave as much gems as we could for this beginning of the year. If you keep all those things intact, you focus on all those things, I think your year is going to be amazing. I mean, our year's been amazing, so it ain't going to stop. 2025 ain't going to stop 2026, and moving forward, it ain't going to stop. So that's what we do.
Definitely. As long as you have the cornerstone of what it is that you need to succeed and you keep that systematic all year round, oh, you'll be fine.
100%.
And it doesn't matter what comes your way, you'll be able to overcome it and then, reset and get back on task, and you'll be fine to go further than you could ever imagine, because that we've been doing that.
That's it.
So
Far from normal mentality.
that is
Always keeping
definitely-
these things on mind, being intentional this year, making sure you hit all your goals, make sure you're setting those goals, and then, yeah, you attack them like you attack anything else in life. And, yeah,
Exactly.
you'll get what you want out of it. That's all I got to say.
The stars are the limit. Just remember that.
Yes, sir.
And we are out.
Deuces.